Welcome back to Common Ground. Look, we are going to be taking it to the next level now. We are going to be talking about AI. Now, if anybody knows me, y'all already know I am very challenged when it comes to all of this stuff, social media, AI, everything. In fact, other people run my social media stuff because I'm so challenged with it. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm kind of old school, went to law school, read books. My daughter's in law school, and it's a whole different thing that they're doing compared to what I did in law school. But anyway, we have a professional on right now, Dr. Erin, who's going to be joining us. And look, Dr. Erin Jacques, she's a professor, an entrepreneur, an AI strategist who's helping people connect what they need to know that's coming next. And I'm one of those people. So, Dr. Erin Jacques, welcome to Common Ground. So glad to be with you.
Oh, so glad to be here. Thank you so much. That's a
Now,
nice introduction. Appreciate it.
well, it's the truth. I mean, look, to me, you a hero already because you're about to teach me something that I know nothing about. So you already a hero in my book because I love to learn. So you already a hero in my book.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Erin, a lot of people hear the term artificial intelligence and think robots, science fiction. How do you define AI in simple terms for somebody like me who's just an everyday person who hasn't really dove into this just yet?
Actually, I can use one word to describe AI. I talk about it as intellect, but it's a being intellect. It's not a person intellect.
Mm-hmm.
And it's affording our community. I say our community. When I think of our community, I think of people who may not necessarily have been totally resourced. So I come from an under-resourced community. And for me, the traditional way of learning and education wasn't something that I absolutely loved, but it doesn't mean that I didn't absolutely love learning and I wasn't a voracious learner. But now you have this intellectual being that can provide the support and the services for another person. So I tell people also, don't get scared about AI. Don't worry about it. Don't get stressed about it. Anything that you're doing now, you can literally put on steroids, right? And there's a lot of different camps and how people feel about, like, some people are like, I hate AI, it's ethically wrong, and all this other stuff. And there's a lot of underlying subconscious issues that people have with the idea that there's no gatekeeping to information now, that anyone can get access to any kind of information you want. So artificial intelligence is an intellectual thing, right? That you can ask questions to, that's been trained on so much knowledge, and that you can get assistance and you can learn how to do practically anything you want. You said that that you love learning. Do you know, I truly believe that every single person loves learning. Like, I truly believe that. Like, I don't think you hear people go, well, that person just doesn't like to learn. I don't believe that exists. I think as human beings, we are naturally nosy. And by
Yeah.
virtue of
Yeah.
being nosy, we
Yeah.
are, right? Like we want to freaking know.
Yeah.
And now you have this thing that can tell you about the thing that we're not all interested in the same thing. Like, you talk to me about politics, I'm going to sleep. Like, I just don't care
And
enough,
see, I
right?
can talk about the
But
history of politics. I'm just the opposite of
that's your thing.
that.
That's your thing, right? That's your thing. Like, I'm not interested in delving in and asking more questions. But if there's something that you want to know right now, you have a thing. And I like this. My thing is on my phone all the time. I'm walking and talking. I go for walks. I used to go for walks and I'd call friends. I don't got time for that. I go for walks. I'm serious. I go for walks. I talk to AI, right? Because I'm like, tell me about this. And I argue with it. I mean, all kinds of stuff. But anyway, it's intellect. That's what it is.
You know, it's funny that you would say that it's intellect because see, I guess that was my biggest, I won't call it fear, but I would call it my apprehension, right? Because I was like, how much veracity is in this AI? Because it's pulling stuff off the internet and people are putting all kind of crazy, wrong information on the internet. So is it
Mhm.
really being vetted out to where when this AI is giving me knowledge, this knowledge is something that I know is nothing but truth, honesty. It's been checked. I know it's real. So that's what's kind of kept me from really diving into this because I'm just, like I said, I'm old school. I'm one of these people that let me do my research. Let me find it out myself. Let me double check it, triple check it to know that I know what I'm talking about. But what I'm finding out, because I recently got Chat GPT, I'm paying my little $19 a month to have it. I'm finding out
Good.
that this thing has a lot of knowledge and a lot of intellect to it
Yeah.
that's correct. So for
Right.
somebody who was like me, who was worried about how much veracity would be in this AI, is it a lot of truth in what they're doing? Is it vetted? Do people have, should they feel secure that the information that they're getting is actually the right information?
All the information is not vetted. It has a lot of information. It has a lot of contradictory information. So here's the thing. Um, there's scholarly information, there's information from regular people, but even among scholars that have an idea, they argue, right? If you start using AI and you're trying to get help on an area that you don't have expertise in, you can be taken down the wrong rabbit hole. So anyone who's used AI, like you do need a level of domain expertise, right? Because, and you will see this if you're using AI, and let's say you're trying to like create something, or let's say digital marketing. Let's say you're trying to learn more about digital marketing in the AI space, and you start asking questions. How much should I charge for my ebook? How much, it'll give you a lot of contradictory bad information because people have different schools of thought on it, right? Um, so using AI effectively does require some level of domain level expertise so that you could say, man, that was a really bad answer. That's not the kind of information I want. I'm asking for information about this particular person's school of thought as it relates to this information I need, right? And so what I will say to people is we're the good thing about this technology, like there's technologies that have look, I think about the internet. I was when the internet was the big boom and stuff, I was too young and naive to understand what was happening and take advantage of it, right? And to learn it. But even then, you had to have some technical expertise to get in the game. You don't need technical expertise now. That's the crazy thing about AI. And so you can create your own chatbot right now and feed it the information you want. So let's say, I have digital marketing people that gurus that I really like and I listen to, and but they're aligned in their thinking and their like methodology. I can take a chatbot and I could feed it those books and that information. So when I want to talk about digital marketing, I'm going to that specific chatbot to talk because that's been vetted by me. This is what I think, who are the people I think are valuable and who I want to listen to and that have and I agree with their philosophy.
Let me ask you this: for somebody who's just starting out, experimenting with AI, what advice would you give them?
I would say look at anything that you're doing right now. One thing, anything, pick one thing that you're doing and ask and go into AI and say, how can I do this faster? Because like anyone in the like 40s and above, right, that are adulting, the greatest thing is that we know how to do things the hard way because
Right,
we did things forever the hard way.
right,
I grew up in the encyclopedia period. You know what I mean?
right.
Like,
Me too.
right.
Me
So,
too. So I get it.
right. So, and it wasn't a great way to learn. Goodness, gosh. But we made it through and we persevered, right? So you could, if there's a task, if you're taking 5 hours to do it, say, here, I do this particular task. I have to feed Excel this information, and then I have to go search online for this, whatever it is that you do. How can I do this faster? One thing, and make it and help it make your life a little bit more efficient. Because that alone is going to be your gateway drug. You'll be like, what?
What? Let,
What did I just do?
let me ask you, because I've heard people talk about prompting, and so is prompting the key to that? Is that the key to make sure that you're getting the information and getting that gateway drug to get more into AI?
Yeah. So I people will go out and buy prompt guides. I think buying a prompt guide is a waste of time. I truly believe it is. Um, Good prompting is good natural language. So the more you use AI, the better you get at prompting and the better you get at regular communication because it will not understand what you say, what you're asking it to do. And so I think there's like some prompt tricks, like where when you say whatever you're saying, type it in or auditorily say what you're saying and say, what do you think I'm saying? You know what I mean? What do you understand this to be? Right. So prompting has to do with being able to communicate clearly enough that this thing would understand in the same way that another human being would understand. There's no difference, right? And having enough domain level expertise to ask the right questions, right? So if I don't know anything about a particular area, maybe it's lighting or electrical engineering, I can't prompt it. I just can't. I know nothing. My first prompt is tell me. I have this idea. I'm trying to do this. Tell me something so I could find the right words to get the information I need from it.
You know, I'm sitting here listening to you, and all I'm thinking about is AI has an ability that most humans don't have just from what you're saying. It knows how to comprehend. A lot of people hear you, but they don't know how to comprehend what you're saying, even if you're saying it correctly. But AI seems to be able to comprehend it long as you're putting it in there the correct way.
Yeah, that's a cool thing too, like because it'll say, "Are you trying to say X, Y, and Z?" And
Right.
that alone is a teaching moment. And I'm a college professor as well, and I tell my students all the time, there's a big fear in academia of students using AI, and I just think it's the most asinine and insane thing ever because it teaches you the mere fact of interacting with it, you just get better because you're interacting with it along. It's almost like gaming. Like you're gaming. I mean, I'm not a gamer, but the more you game, you get better at gaming because you're having that back and forth interaction. But it's a different kind of gaming.
Have you ever been surprised by something you did with AI? Like you were looking for something, or you were
Every
having a conversation with it, and something just popped up, and you're like, "What the hell is this?"
I am surprised at. I joke among people and I say I'm a developer. I'm like I have a degree in software engineering. I say that I don't have a degree in software engineering, and they're like, and I'm like, that is how good I've gotten with developing tools because of AI. AI codes up like you wouldn't believe. Like certain AI, like Claude AI, for instance, it beats Cursor right now. It's like one of the best tools for coding. We are currently living like in the creative space. So there was a time that if you came up with an idea and you didn't know the full tech stack and you didn't have a tech person, you couldn't bring that idea to fruition. That doesn't exist. I mean, obviously there's some difficult things that you wouldn't be able to do, right? Some things that are, but from the most part, if you have an idea in your mind, you could have it developed. You can have the web app developed, or you can have a tool developed, you can have a chatbot developed that does the thing that you're looking to do, right?
So let me ask you this:
And
you
that, so
just
I'm constantly surprised. I'm
so you just
constantly surprised that,
you just said something though about Claude AI, right? And you said it codes. So
yeah,
you mean this AI will actually code something for you if you wanted to do it?
yeah, yeah. You say, come up with an idea. I want a web app that gives weather, and that can give me the weather, I don't know, based on my zip code, and then send that to people, um, that's in my email list. You can develop a web app that does it. I just kind of thought of something off the top of my head, but you can develop a web app that does it. A friend of mine this week, this was like literally 10 minutes, uh, help him code up a web app that he has a grief scale. It has information for the grief scale. People answer the questions, and then it is connected to a national service of mental health support. So when someone enters their zip code, it provides, after they take the grief scale, they get a number. And based on if they're at a high level of grief, they enter their zip code and it gives them resources in their area. So we're limited by our ability to come up with a creative solution to solve a problem for a group of people. That's our limits right now because we can develop a chatbot, we can develop a tool to solve it. And we don't have to be technical. We can go to something like Claude AI and it writes the code for us for this for this tool
So
to
something like
materialize.
Claude AI, you can create a vision. Like, let's say you want to create an algorithm. Will it be able to create an algorithm for you?
Well, the algorithm is what is words, right?
Right.
You're deciding how you
And
want.
it's data. It's data and words, right? So
It's data and words, right? Well, you can write up your algorithm and have it use that as it's engaging in whatever activity it wants to engage in, right? You want this chatbot to engage in.
okay.
So yeah, essentially it can help it.
Now, let's talk a little bit about jobs because a lot of people are afraid the AI is going to take their job. What's your take on that? Should people be worried or preparing differently because of this?
AI, and this is Jensen Huang, who's the first person he's the CEO of NVIDIA. First person I heard say this, and I repeated it a lot. And it's AI is not going to take your job. It's the people that are using AI that's going to take your job. And I tell my students this all the time. Yeah. I tell my students, you're
Oh,
going to go
wow.
to a job. Like if I'll give it, you're going to go to a job and they're going to ask you to put a spreadsheet and gather some information. And if you take the whole 8-hour day to finish it, and somebody else that comes in is using AI, whips up that information in 15 minutes, you will not have a job.
Right.
You won't have a job because everyone is worried about the bottom line and they're looking to be more effective and efficient. So you have to learn the resources that are available to you to accomplish the tasks that you need accomplished.
Yeah, but it's still a little scary, Dr. Aaron, because you right now you got a singer who's on the top. She's on the Billboard Top 100. Who's an AI singer? She's not even a real person, and that's a little scary for people out there who are artists because they're like, well, wait a minute, that's going to take from us. So when you see stuff like that, should people be worried just a little bit?
I think that example, is that the woman who I think it was her poetry that she used?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean she did have a creative element to it. AI needs to be fed information. If you're creative enough to feed it good information for it to develop something for you, that's amazing. That's still your input in it. It's not doing it on its own. It's not autonomously doing it. I
So
don't think people should be fearful. I think people should use it, and I think people should see that this is an opportunity. Particularly over, I think we're in the gold rush era of AI right now.
hmm
I think it's an opportunity for everyone to go in and make money in AI. When you look at the stats right now of AI, what we know is that in terms of adoption rates, 70% of businesses are using AI to some extent. But when we look at the adoption rate of consumers, of every single day, the day-to-day people, it's a 10% adoption rate. That means there's such an opportunity to actually get in. When you speak to people and someone says, I don't use this AI, or I don't know ChatGPT, or I'm scared of using AI, it just shows that there's an opportunity to come in that space and not just be a consumer in that space, but to be a creator in that space. But that window is going to close, right? I think the last estimates I remember is, and this was OpenAI Dev Day that happened in October. They said it was 800 million people that are using ChatGPT, and there's 18 billion messages that are happening per week on ChatGPT. That's a big deal. But
yeah,
from a global population perspective, it's actually not that big of a deal.
right,
It still counts at 10%, right?
right.
So this is the opportunity to kind of get in and like say, what problem can I solve? And use AI to solve that problem.
So for everybody who heard me talk about the lady who created the song, Dr. Erin just made a great point. I'm glad you went here with this, right? Because you talked about her creativity. So she's getting a gold rush based on her creativity, her thought process with the help of AI. And we all could be doing that right now because it's an
We,
opportunity.
we all have enough knowledge in our head right now to get paid. And can I say, the older you are, the more knowledge you have. And this is a time where people are feeling as if they don't have as much value, particularly people in corporate and bureaucratic workspaces, because ageism is a real thing, right?
Right,
You
right.
gain more knowledge, you gain more experience, and people are telling you, no, you're not valuable, you're not valuable. You do have that experience right now. And you can use that knowledge to solve a problem and profit. So you don't have to be dependent on anything to make sure that you can have a livelihood, or any government organization or business.
Now, let me ask you this. If somebody was starting a small business or trying to brand themselves, I mean, let's say I want to use AI to brand this show and get it viral and people all in America talking about it. How can I use AI to do something like that?
Well, you could use AI definitely to develop lead magnets. You could use AI to figure out what are people talking about as it relates, to scrape the internet and get audience intel about what are some pain points people have, what are questions that they have, what information they want to know. So you can bring that information to your show. You can use AI to create different kinds of avatars so you can have much more productivity and promotion that's going out. I mean, there's a lot of different levers. So within any organization, there's a lot of different things that you do, right? So then it's kind of like taking a step back and like, well, what are the different things that I do as part of this organization? And what can I do faster or with more abundance with AI? Because quantity does speed matters in any entrepreneurial game
Right.
and quantity matters, right? Right. If you move fast, you'll likely win, right?
Yep.
Because by the time you're moving fast, you've figured out 5 different things that didn't work while the next person is just trying to make their first move, right? So moving fast matters and quantity matters, and you can do that with AI. So um, that's what I would say. I would say the kind of the base thing is like figuring out what is it that's of interest, because interest changes, right? It evolves,
Yep.
particularly in the media space. That
Yeah.
people have different appetites. Every like
48
the
hours.
change happens
48 hours. 48 hours. That's
so
all it
quickly,
takes. Yep.
right? So quickly, so you can be on all the like the poppin' forums, Reddit, whatever, and just get all the information that's relevant and people want to know, and bring that to your audience. That's just one thing that comes to the top of my head.
Well, that's a that's a good thing. It comes to the top of your head. Now, let me ask you this: for somebody who wants to learn AI, what would you suggest? And then you also talk about technology and equity. How does AI help close that gap and get that equitable position?
I think you have to believe that it's a good tool to use. Um, in some educational spaces now, professors and teachers are advocating that students don't use AI, and that's the wrong move. So I've had the luxury of living, I like to say, 2 different lives. I know what it's like to be under resourced, and I know what it's like to be resourced. I know what it's like to go to public universities, and I know what it's like to go to private universities. And I've seen the differences. And they tell our students, some, right, using AI is cheating.
Hmm.
However, the affluent, right, well-resourced communities have always had tutoring. They've always had one-on-one support. There's no difference, right? You could have an intellectual being helping you to advance yourself, or you could now have an intellectual thing, right, that is helping you to advance yourself. And so, um, did I answer your question?
Yeah, that answers the question.
Yeah.
You know, because when people hear this and think about this, it's still going to be that little bit of fear there. But I think people need to understand this is really nothing to be afraid of. It's something to embrace because it can make it better for you and even the next generation coming after you.
You'll be left behind. There's a gold rush. You will be left behind. There's an opportunity. This is like, I remember I think I just started college when YouTube came out, and someone told
Yeah.
me about YouTube, and I was like, YouTube.
Yep.
Like it was like
Yeah.
ridiculous, right?
I remember that. That
But
was the same period of time. I remember that like that was yesterday. Yep.
the early adopters barely did anything. It went on and said hi. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, you know how much you got to work to get a little piece, a little crumb on YouTube?
Yep.
Like, you got to put some like amazing long form videos out there, and you got to be consistent. There's so much. So people will say, I missed an opportunity. I'm telling people, particularly the Black community, do not miss this opportunity. You will miss it. And it's going to be I think about the email marketing period. The email marketing period, the opportunity was like for like 13 years. This one is going to be shorter, but
Yeah.
but we're still in the infancy now. So so use it, learn it, and just try to make your own life more effective, right? So if you're like, well, what can I do? What can I do to make money right now? One thing I say to people is whatever job you're doing has been validated by the market because somebody's paying you to do it.
Right. 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 Right.
How can you put your job on steroids? Start looking at the individual tasks that you do and using AI to make those tasks more efficient because that could be the product or the thing that you then sell out to other people, to
So
other
doc,
businesses.
so Dr. Erin, let me ask you this. Where can people find you? Where can people follow you at on social media, learn from you? Where can they follow you?
So Instagram and TikTok, it's at Dr. So Dr. Period Erin Jacques, my full name.
Erin Jacques. Full name, Dr. Erin Jacques. Full name.
Yeah,
Before we let you go, if we fast forward 10 years from now, what do you hope your work has contributed to the field of AI?
that's a really good question.
Especially with you being a professor and teaching the next generation of great minds. What do you hope it be? Hope to be?
Hmm. I think about this from a community perspective. I hope that many people would have been able to build wealth from the knowledge and kind of my prodding and pushing them to actually move the needle and actually get involved in this. Um, I my tagline at the end of every video is like, "Follow me to monetize with AI." Like that's my real goal, and I'm working on a platform now to make it easier for people to monetize with AI. I believe one of the easiest ways to do that now is through chatbots. And I'm working on a platform where people can create those chatbots right there on the platform and monetize. So I want to have contributed to a whole slew of people being able to say, this, I changed the, financial stability for my family and for generations to come. That's my goal. It's a pretty big goal, but it's
That
the
is
one
a
that I think about all the.
that is an awesome goal. That is the heart of a servant leader. Make sure you guys go follow her. Dr. Erin, please come back. Thank you so much for being with us on Common Ground. We greatly appreciate you.
Thanks so much, Warren. This was great. You asked really great questions, so
Uh,
thank you.
Thank you. Hey, my education paid off